All right, let's move on. Let's talk about, this is like the retro episode, man. We're going back again with this next topic. We're going to talk about Streets of Rage 4. This whole week for me, I have really enjoyed this week, I just want to say. Production-wise, like for content, it was like a nightmare. I had so much crazy crap happen, like in producing like my SIFTD HQ stuff and a bunch of other things. But personally, I really enjoyed this week because I really took a step back. Just searching for my N64 was such a rewarding and fun experience because I was digging through all these old crates of stuff, of all my old gaming stuff. And so it just totally took me back. I felt like I was living in like 1997 to like 2002 again. I don't even know how to put it into words. It just warped me back to those times. And then on top of that, I was playing Streets of Rage 4. And it also took me way back to the days where I was so little I could hardly see over the top of the arcade cabinet to play these games. The game has been getting like gigantic review scores. Matt, what are your impressions of Streets of Rage 4?
My impressions are that all the review scores are accurate.
Okay.
I'm a big Streets of Rage fan. I love that game since back in the first one came out in the Genesis. I like beat 'em ups. You know, they're cousins to fighting games. Final Fight even takes place in the same universe as Street Fighter. But I loved Streets of Rage back in the day because it was made for consoles at home. It had a little more depth and a little more meat on its bones than sort of a quarter muncher beat 'em up like Final Fight. Or all the stuff Capcom made, which I love, but they're not Streets of Rage.
They're evil.
Yeah, Streets of Rage.
I mean, they're designed to let you only play a minute at a time.
Streets of Rage is the pinnacle of the genre to me.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, this is my favorite beat 'em up.
And this game, I mean, I played that. I played the fan remake that mashed all three of them up and did all the random stuff. You know, that's a great. If you can find the Streets of Rage remix that was made like 10 years ago or so, that's really good and worth playing. This is possibly the best retro sequel of all time. It feels like Streets of Rage.
That's a big statement.
But they tweaked it enough that it's new. Like they changed a little bit how it plays, so it plays like a new game, but it still feels like Streets of Rage.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would go that far in terms of what they added to what you can do with the juggling. Yeah. And the interaction between two players, and like it doesn't they've solved kind of the stiffness that the old Streets of Rage games had, and there's a little more free form to how you can deal with stuff, but it still feels like Streets of Rage.
It does. I have a feeling a lot of people are being introduced to something you and I have been familiar with for a very long time. Right now they are. Mm-hmm. And I think they may be wondering what the hell are people like Matt and Shane thinking. I enjoyed playing this game. I have problems seeing younger players enjoying this game.
I mean, people do play these. I mean, there's a lot of games that are cousins to this that younger kids enjoy. And certainly there's a younger, like I think a lot of the millennials I know have a lot of fond memories of the Scott Pilgrim game. Yeah. Which was the same genre, and was
a little less rigid than this, though.
Less rigid, but it's still recognizable, and especially in terms of length and kind of combo style. Also, a decade old this year. Yeah, that game. Wow.
It's playing this game or this genre in general. It requires a different kind of skill because you're dealing with just a 2D plane, and there's really no deviation. So you have to be on that same plane with an enemy in order to strike, to land a blow. And so it's this very weird thing where you're circling like around each other, trying to find, particularly the boss fights, trying to find that one perfect angle where you can come in and like land your first blow and then go into your combo and then maybe use your finisher after that. But I don't know if kids, man, are going to appreciate that all that much. It does feel very archaic still. I agree with you. It's if you're a Streets of Rage fan, it's excellent.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think kids like hitting things no matter what.
But there's so many other ways to do that in video games now that in all honesty it's a lot better.
It doesn't matter. It's fun.
It is very, but the combat is very, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's just very rudimentary. You have one combo.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I don't think you're playing it right then. more like a fighting game than almost any game in this genre I've played, except maybe Scott Pilgrim.
Well, there is a fighting game mode in this. There's a multiplayer mode where you can actually fight other players head to head.
And so you're right. People are finding crazy shit in that thing. Like there's full like not infinite combos, but people have found some combos with the Guitar Girl that like you're dead. Like it's a 25 hit combo and you're dead. Like using the juggling in this is completely unlike any other game of this genre I've seen. It's like there's other games that have done it, but the fluidity that this one has for it is amazing. And the fact that they pulled that out of Streets of Rage and still feels like Streets of Rage, even with that fluidity, is impressive to me.
No, I'm impressed with the game. I just don't think it's going to appeal to a lot of people, to be honest with you. I think it'll appeal to us.
I think you'll be surprised because I think having fun hitting things with pretty graphics is a universal appeal.
Well, the presentation
you got to find it. The problem is you got to find it first. It hasn't been particularly prominent, I don't think, in like the console store. Like I haven't seen it. I had to go look for it, basically.
Yeah.
As opposed to, although it is on Game Pass, so like if you have Game Pass, what you got to lose?
Like if you play online, I mean, I'm okay at it. I have uncovered that depth that you're talking about, but a lot of the game is context sensitive or random as to whether you're going to grab or not, as to whether you're going to land a blow or not. I think grab is B or circle.
Grab is go near the guy. Just like
it seems like if I tap B or circle on the PlayStation controller, they'll grab. But then sometimes they grab all on their own. Like it.
Well, yeah, because grab is just go near a guy.
That's so
how you
weird.
grab a guy. That's how it's always been.
I know, but
that's you maneuver around a guy, come down from the top, and then you got the grab, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
I know.
Although are you playing the big guy?
I've played everybody.
Because like the big guy has grabs, like command grabs. So that's different.
Like his most of his powerful moves are tied into his grabs, and he pulls you in and like shocks you or whatever.
He can do some crazy combo stuff.
He can, yeah. But I've played with like some other players who are like way better than me. Like because you can just look at their score and see how much they played the game, and I don't see them doing anything that I'm not aware of as far as how the gameplay works. Like,
well, you don't really need to against the CPU, but there's a lot there if you want to style with it.
Yeah.
And I think they nailed the music. The music has always kind of been a defining thing of Streets of Rage.
It's like old but new. Somehow they've managed to do it. You're right. Like they really did nail it.
And graphics, I think, are really good. I love all the sprite work. The thing I'm most impressed by, and this is actually in XCOM Chimera too, which we'll get to, using, like, especially with the neon lights in this game, they reflect and light up the sprites.
Yeah.
Like if you stand next to a neon sign in this game, your 2D hand animated sprite will light up with the proper lighting from the neon sign. And I think that's really neat. And they do that in the cutscenes of XCOM Chimera as well.
Yeah, I think the animation could use some work. Some of those attacks, like and look, some of it I can't tell if they're just trying to make it just like the old games. Like when you use like a bat, it's this weird thing where you have your arm completely extended and the bat completely extended, and you're just like chopping like this, like.
Yeah, well, that depends on which character it is. Like, some characters use bats better than others. Some characters use the lead pipe better than others.
And that is one thing the game does do is like every character uses a knife differently. Like some characters will have like a 3-hit combo with the knife. Some won't.
Blaze is deadly with a knife, but like
she also carries it like this, like backwards or whatever. Yeah.
She has like a 3-hit combo and then can like throw it out separately. Yeah. Like, she's really great with it, but she's pretty bad with a lead pipe.
So yeah, exactly. So look, I like the game. I'm having fun with it, but we have our audience really runs the gamut, and I would struggle to recommend this for anyone. I don't know. It's hard to not let nostalgia affect my opinion on stuff like this, because it's like I said, digging out my N64, I had this like glow around me for like the whole week. This retro glow. It's a thing. It's real. And I have that same glow for old arcade games. So I even feel like maybe I'm being a little too generous in my assessment of this game. But I don't
think so. Like I don't have a big nostalgia problem. Like I don't really have a rose-colored glasses problem with old entertainment products. I have it with like experiences we had. Like you want to talk about G4 days, I'll have some nostalgia goggles on our things we did.
Yeah.
But I don't really have that for old stuff. And I can say that with extra, authority, having booted up that original Xbox this week, because like a bunch of this stuff I'm like, oh, I want to play that again, because some stuff just hasn't moved forward off the original Xbox. It's trapped there. It hasn't become backwards compatible. Nobody's done a remaster. So I played a few of those things this week, and a bunch of that shit sucks. Like that shit is not as good as I remember. Like I was like, oh, Pirates Legend of the Black Cat. I don't have the PS2 version, so I'm like, I'll play Pirates Legend of the Black Cat. I used to love that game, and I played it, and like an hour later, I'm like, nope. It's not working anymore, although I did enjoy seeing my last save, which was June 2003.
Wow. That's crazy.
Stuff like that. And Wrath Unleashed, which was never good, but was even worse than I remembered. So I don't feel like I have that too much of a problem with that kind of thing. And I think this is if you are willing to play a beat 'em up these days, much the same way as like kind of like the modern Mega Man games. Like if you look at that and aren't instantly repulsed, this is the best example of that genre on modern systems. Yeah. So I can't, until they bring back Scott Pilgrim, which is also one of the pinnacles of that genre, but is trapped in licensing hell. This is about as good as it gets, and I think it's probably better than the old games.
It is. It definitely is. No doubt about it.
I think Streets of Rage 2 still has a better soundtrack, but although this one has the classic soundtrack if you want to switch to it. So
it also has classic pixelated characters. You can play the game in a pixelized mode. One thing I will say though, and maybe this is it's
longer than any of the other games.
Yeah, but that actually feeds into what I was about to say, and that is that you can get everything out of this game in like a day. Because one thing about it is, and I like this about it, I'm not trying to criticize it for it, is that if you go online, it doesn't matter how far you've played yourself in the single player option. You can go online and look at the lobbies, and you can play any stage you want. And so you don't have to like play through and get to level 4. You can join someone who's playing level 12 if you've only made it to level 2 on your own. And so doing that, you can jump around and play the whole game in literally like 2 hours. I hate to say it, but it's like you may not beat all the bosses. You may fail some of the missions, but you can play every stage in a couple hours and play, for the most part, like 80 to 90% of those stages. So it's a game that you can pretty much squeeze, for the most part, in like a day. Now, like you mentioned, it's on Game Pass right now, and you can get Game Pass for cheap, so you can get the game for cheap. It retails for $25, and that's right on the edge for me.
25 is a lot. 20 would be more reasonable.
20 to me is a sweet spot for this. Yeah. 25 is a little much for me because I literally played it for a day and I really don't have any interest in going back.
I will definitely play it again. Yeah. I will go back to this game a lot, I think.
Oh, okay. The presentation, I mean, the in-game visuals look great, as Matt mentioned, but like there aren't really cinematics. They're just stills with text. It's an indie game basically with Streets of Rage, with the license. So just keep that in mind. For most people, I think you're going to play it for a day or two and you'll probably feel like, okay, I've played the whole thing. So keep that in mind if you're going to pay the full $25 for it. I would be more comfortable.
I mean, ideally Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what you should do. But not everyone has a PC or an Xbox. So
no, but I'd say ideally Game Pass, or if you're stuck with PS4 on it, I can't imagine it won't get a sale for $20 in like 3 months.
Yeah,
or just cough up an extra $5. I don't know, but I don't know. Like it's such a drought right now that maybe you could justify $25 for just a really good beat 'em up retro title. Yeah, there's not much else coming until Xenoblade, really. Or I'm interested in Maneater, but I think that game's going to be terrible. It's just going to be awesome, but terrible.
I think the best news though is that Streets of Rage is back. So they've done a really good job on 4. It seems to be doing well. I would not agree with the review scores on this. I would not give it anywhere near the scores that it's getting. Not to say they're wrong, just my personal experience with the game. I would not give it that high of a score. But the fact of the matter is, it is getting that high of a score. So the likelihood of a sequel is probably about 100% at this point. So I'm very happy that the franchise is back and it's in a form that I want to consume. And now that since
Sega doesn't always bring things back well. So it's good to see them really nailing this old franchise that has not had an entry since the mid 90s. Let's not forget. Yep. It had a couple of there's been a couple of canceled Streets of Rage 4 attempts over the years. So that they got this out finally and it turned out to be great is shocking and pleasing. I hope that it encourages them to kind of keep moving forward on kind of bringing back some of their classic franchises with new spins on them, because they got a lot of stuff in that back catalog just is not being used.
Yep, for sure. I'll say this. I was pleasantly surprised by it. So, and of course that way.
A new Panzer Dragoon, you dicks.
Exactly. Or just remakes Saga. Money in the bank. Money in the bank.
Saga, or like give me, I don't know, remaster of Revenge of Shinobi, or what about
Shinobi in general? Like, where the hell is it?
Do remasters of the PS2 Shinobi and Kunoichi or Nightshade. Those are great games.
Yeah. When I was digging out my N64, I also found like a bunch of Dreamcast stuff. I was literally on like retro cloud 9 for like 5 days straight. It's crazy how that stuff can affect you. All these memories just start rushing back, and I started thinking, like I said, about Ryan Davis, and you know where that goes.
Yeah, there's also the pleasant surprise when the 20-year-old hardware still works.
I know. Yeah, it turned right on.
You finally get it to talk to your modern television, and it all comes up, and you're like, oh, it looks pretty good. That's all right. Like,
my N64 still works like a charm, man. It's crazy. So, well, that's what happens, though, when you don't have movable parts. It's just a switch. That's it.
I think the last time I turned mine on would have been like 2015 when I did that Facebook show with Trisha Hirschberger. And I was just writing the whole thing at that point. I was like, I'm putting Rocket Robot on wheels in the next one. I'm just telling you that. I'm not asking. I'm just saying we're putting that in. So I had to figure out. I ordered like a box that converted N64 to HDMI and did all this, and like got a separate cable that was like a custom thing that did like components. So just every little bit of better visual quality I could get out of it to capture it, like made all the difference. Because if you just did it through the composite cables, Rocket from Robot on Wheels was just like a red smear. Like you couldn't tell what the hell you were looking at, because it's just was never meant to be seen in 1080p.
Yeah, but I actually go through what I use to capture the N64 in SIFTD HQ. I found a very cheap solution, and it's like $20-$30. You can get it on eBay. If you want to stream or capture retro consoles, check out HQ and you can see what it is.
It's probably very similar to the box I use for it. It looks surprisingly good.
Yeah, this one that I use has an S-video input, which I was surprised by, which is a big deal for N64.
I wonder if I might have that. Can't remember. It's still in the drawer over there, but I haven't looked at it.
It's called like a Dazzle or something. It's like made to record like VHS tapes to your computer, but it works for gaming consoles. Yeah.
I have something like that for my Saturn.
Yep. For like $30, and you can start streaming and recording your retro stuff.